Over the years, TikTok has been home to some of the worst challenges the internet has seen. I've made countless videos covering these challenges, and today we're gonna go through and take a look at the worst of the worst, starting from dumb, going to dangerous, and then even deadly. This video is for documentary purposes and to raise awareness. Do not try anything you see in this video. Starting it off, we got the dumb category. These challenges are brain-rottingly stupid, awful, some illegal, and others even potentially harmful. The Gorilla Glue Challenge. This all started whenever a TikToker known as Tessica Brown mistaked a bottle of Gorilla Glue spray as hairspray, and well, she sprayed it right into her hair. This covered her hair in a super glue shell, making it so her hair was completely immobile, and even after washing her hair over 15 times, it stayed exactly the same. Now you may be wondering, where's the challenge at? Well, the video that Tessica made went insanely viral, getting over 8 million likes on TikTok. With that, we had other TikTokers out there trying to replicate the same thing. Some examples include this guy who super glued a red Solo cup to his lip, and then also this girl right here who absolutely covered her hair in super glue, and then somehow acted surprised whenever it wouldn't come out. Moving on, we have the Devious Lick Challenge. This one was more popular, and a lot of you guys most likely have heard about this one before. The challenge was to basically steal the most outrageous thing you possibly could from the most outlandish place. Kids were stealing water fountains from their school, toilet seats. It was just insane. And also, it was incredibly popular. Schools were shutting down because their whole entire bathrooms were just empty randomly because these kids were stealing everything from them. Anyways, that one doesn't need much explanation, so moving on. The Kesha Knock Knock Challenge, Extreme Edition. This challenge stemmed from a trend where people would basically ding dong ditch in like college dorms and stuff to the tune of the Kesha song that goes like, I hear your heartbeat to the beat of the drum. Yeah, guys, my vocals are amazing, I know. But yeah, then whenever it went bum bum, they would bang on the door and then run away. Well, you may be wondering, what's the extreme version of this? Kids were going up to random houses, and by the way, guys, this happened multiple times, and whenever the bum bum part of the song came, they were knocking in people's doors, like full force, straight up vandalism. Not to mention, these were random people's houses. The original trend involved you going up to either your friend's house or like some kids in a dorm and just knocking loudly. No, people were going up to random houses and barging in their doors. And this was all happening in America, where going on people's private property is not the brightest idea, let alone slamming their doors in. Next, we have the Silhouette Challenge. This one started off innocent-ish. It wasn't the people who were partaking in the challenge doing wrong, rather it was what people were doing with the videos. So the Silhouette Challenge, or just the silhouette trend, involved usually a female using this silhouette filter, which makes it so you only see their silhouette. While girls were filming thirst traps with this filter, taking off their clothing, but the videos could stay up because you could only see the silhouette, only a shadow. Only this filter was not censoring the videos the way that the girls thought. It was only changing the lighting, and creeps would download these videos, change the lighting in video editing software, and then they could see it all. Lots of problems arise with that. I mean, blackmail, extortion, and I mean, you just don't want videos like that out in the public for anybody to see. Very sad stuff, and the people who were partaking didn't even know that this was gonna happen. One of the rare times I sympathize with the people who partaked in the trend. Also though, recording yourself taking off clothes and posting it on the internet with or without a filter is pretty stupid. Another thing that was stupid was the nail filing your teeth trend. To put it simply, people were leveling out their teeth using a nail filer. So for example, if your left front tooth was like longer than your right front tooth, these people were taking nail filers and filing down their left big tooth to make it even with the other one. Which, first of all, what possesses you to think that that's gonna be like a good idea? I'm just like cringing at the thought of even trying it. Like, imagine the sound that would make as you're scraping your teeth. Ugh. Also though, this was extremely harmful. Dentists all over TikTok were warning not to do this trend, as it could cause irreversible damage to your teeth. Strangely enough, the next challenge could also cause irreversible damage to your teeth and your gums, jaw, I mean shit, your whole mouth. The Corn Cob Drill Challenge. This challenge was so big, A-list celebrities were doing it, and it's so stupid. This challenge involved putting corn on the cob onto a drill, sinking your teeth into the corn on the cob, then turning on the drill. Now, you're supposed to do it slowly so then you can like eat the corn and then turn it and then eat it more. Truthfully, you're not supposed to do it whatsoever. This is stupid. But the people that were doing it, that was the idea, okay? But barely anybody Nobody was getting the memo because people would just sink their teeth into the corn on the cob and then press down on the drill button full force, causing the corn to spin super fast. And for some people, the corn came off. Others, though, their teeth would get stuck into the corn and then spun around, and it would like break their jaw. Also, there was a case where some girl's hair got stuck into the drill and it pulled her hair right out of her scalp. And now finally, to wrap up the dumb section, we have a really dumb one. This challenge was named NyQuil Chicken. Basically, people were making blue chicken by pouring a ton of NyQuil into their skillet and simmering chicken inside of the cooking NyQuil. Turns out, when you cook NyQuil, which, I mean, the fact that cooking NyQuil is a thing is insane. But whenever you cook NyQuil, the fumes that come out whenever it burns are toxic and poisonous and extremely dangerous to inhale. Also, the amount of NyQuil being absorbed into the chicken whenever it was getting cooked was way too much to be consumed. And yes, people were eating the chicken that they cooked inside of NyQuil. Now, I'm sure all of your guys' brains are just deteriorating right now. I know mine is just from recapping each of these, but guys, it only somehow gets worse from here. We are now going to move into the dangerous challenges. We got challenges that put serious risk to your life. Starting it off, we got the penny outlet challenge. This one was a huge fire hazard. Basically, people were plugging in their little cubes into an outlet, but letting it stick out like halfway, and then recording what happened whenever you dropped a penny into the little gap between the wall and the plug. And what would happen here is it would explode, cause a huge electrical spark. Schools were evacuated over this. And I mean, this one was just so stupid. Electricity is not something to mess with at all. And electric fires are the most dangerous. They start behind your walls with wires catching on fire and go undetected before it's pretty much too late. And that's the exact type of fire that this challenge had the potential to start. Next up, we have something that's been extremely popular and it's been going on forever. And it still goes on today as well. It's the trend where people climb up to really high places without harnesses and take videos or pictures of it. For example, climbing up a giant 500-foot crane and standing up in the clouds on like 1 foot with your little GoPro selfie stick showing how high up you are. And I mean, I don't even have to explain why this is stupid. Even if they're professionals, one little tiny slip and their life is gone just like that. That's actually happened multiple times from people filming these videos. It's gone wrong over and over again, and it's gonna keep going wrong too. But people just love the thrill, I guess. I don't know. Next is something kind of similar. People have been doing this for a long time, but at some point it got popular on TikTok and caused more and more people to do it. The frozen lake challenge. People were finding frozen over lakes, cutting holes in it, and no, they were not going ice fishing. Rather, they were jumping into the holes and going under the ice, and then they'd have to try to find the hole again and come back up. However, people weren't always able to find the hole super easily, and also the water was extremely freezing, potentially causing hypothermia. The next one we're talking about is the blue bottle jellyfish challenge. Now, if it was only the original challenge, this would be in the dumb category, but there is a second tier to the challenge that a few people did, and that's why it's now here in the dangerous category. So if you guys don't know what a blue bottle jellyfish is, well, it's only the most dangerous jellyfish in the world. So what the challenge originally was to either pick up or touch this extremely dangerous jellyfish, you know, get a picture with it. Now, this was extremely dumb due to just how dangerous this jellyfish really was. If you got stung by this jellyfish, the venom from this thing could travel to the lymph nodes, causing your airways to be blocked, then giving you the inability to breathe, and it could even cause cardiac arrest. So yeah, just touching it and picking it up is dumb enough, right? Some guy decided to take it to the next level, and well, he licked the stinger of the blue bottle jellyfish. He was extremely lucky though, and nothing happened. And I mean, he was ridiculously lucky. To wrap up the dangerous section, we got a challenge called the Light Yourself on Fire challenge. And I mean, it's exactly what the challenge says, all right? So as you guys know, maybe you've seen your science teacher do this or seen it on the internet somewhere. You can like put hand sanitizer on your hand and then light it on fire, and just the hand sanitizer burns and not your hand, right? It's like a cool trick to do. You shouldn't try it yourself because it could go wrong, but you know, that's a pretty known trick. Well, people were taking it a step further and covering their whole entire bodies in hand sanitizer. And I mean, that is dumb because I guess people forgot that their clothes are flammable, right? But I'm only shrugging this off because it gets even worse. People were putting other fluids on their bodies to light themselves on fire, including gasoline. There's no reported deaths from this challenge, but there were multiple reports of third-degree burns, which is the worst type of burn you can get. Absolutely painful, and 90% of the time causes irreversible scarring. Anyways, we're now going to move on to the final category, the deadly challenges. These challenges are the worst of the worst and have all claimed claimed multiple lives from participators. Starting it off, we got the Skull Breaker Challenge. 3 people would line up side by side, shoulder to shoulder. Plan was that on the count of 3, everyone would jump. Only the 2 people on the outside would be in on the challenge. And on 3, they would not jump. But the guy in the middle didn't know that, and he would still jump. Well, once he jumped, the 2 people on each side would each push the person in the middle's leg forward. So both legs would get moved forward, and they'd come crashing to the ground head first, causing their skull to be bashed into the ground, which is why it was called the Skull Breaker Challenge. People were getting concussions, cracking their head open, and even sadly losing their lives, which also caused the other 2 participators in the challenge to pick up criminal charges. Moving on, we have the Benadryl Challenge. This was a big one, and man, was it dangerous. People on TikTok found out that if you drink a bunch of Benadryl, it does some interesting stuff to your brain. People were drinking it to hallucinate and get high off of it. Well, turns out drinking a bunch of Benadryl is extremely damaging to your body. Sadly, multiple kids died. The most popular case was a teenage boy who took 14 Benadryl pills, which immediately caused him to have seizures, and he sadly later passed away. Moving on from that, we have the Chapstick Challenge. This one is just so sad. The end game of this challenge is to die. Basically, you would have a new tube of chapstick, and you had to use it multiple times every day. But whenever the chapstick ran out, the participator was supposed to game end. I don't know who came up with this sick, morbid challenge, but people participated in it and followed through. Next on the list is the Blackout Challenge, aka the choking game. Basically, people were cutting off their air supply up until the point they started to black out, which is where the name Blackout Challenge came from. This would cause a moment of lightheadedness and feelings of euphoria whenever you start breathing again. However, this challenge was quite literally putting people on the verge of death. That was the point of the challenge. Whenever you start to black out like that, you're on the verge of death. And it was a challenge on TikTok. Either a friend would like hold your neck until you start to go limp. There was a scenario where this happened and the guy went limp and then he started to have a seizure, and the friends, who I don't even want to call them friends because they are not, just sat there and laughed and kept recording, then posted it to the internet. The guy died later in a hospital. People would also do this without friends and would use like a rope or a belt. And one 12-year-old actually tried to do this with a rope from a pull-up bar, and he ended up fully strangling himself to death. This challenge is by far the deadliest. If you want to hear more about any of these challenges, there's a playlist up on the screen where I have an in-depth video about each one. Send my condolences to all of the families who unfortunately lost their child's life due to TikTok challenges or just any internet challenges in general, and rest in peace to those lives lost.